Hello, welcome to week 7 of EDUC 407. We are the second to last week of the term. It's going by so quick. So hopefully everything's going all right. Just make sure you're staying on top of everything. So as we get to the end of the term, you're going to be all set to go in terms of grades. Our week 7 assignments, which are due on the 8th of October. I know it's crazy to think we're already in October at this point. Make sure you only have 3 assignments this week because you should be making sure you got everything else done. We're getting close to the end. We got 2 pretty easy assignments. And then we also have our major assignment, which is creating a Google Classroom. So we're going to go into all of this. Just a reminder, we're not meeting online this week. Although if you do need help, don't hesitate to ask. But we will meet that last day, which is the 13th of October. So I just want to make sure that we are prepared for that. 12th or 13th. I'm trying to remember exactly. Let me check just to be on the safe side. It's the 12th of October is when we'll meet for class, our last time. So please keep that in mind. Let's look at these assignments. You're going to be looking at 3 links for remote learning spaces regarding remote or distance learning. For those of us that have been in school for a while, 2020, we went on distance learning or remote learning. A lot of things happened that were good. A lot of things happened that were not good. So you're going to look at 3 links regarding some of the stuff like this. Once you viewed them, you will post on Slack on the thread #remote-learning 5 tips that you think are important about remote or distance learning. Once you've finished, as we finish for the most part distance learning, that's what we've done, take your own experiences into account when thinking of tips for teachers. Think of it from a teacher's point of view. What tips would you give teachers if they had to start doing this from home again? I know I'm prepared if that happens, but I hope it never happens again. But if it does, we learned a lot. What are some tips that you think are the most important? Then we want to do the book club. Okay, this is where you're reading chapters 7 and 8, and you're completing slide 6 on your template. I call it a book club because we're all reading the same book. But you're going to read those 2 chapters. There's slide number 6 on your template. It may be a different slide now if you added slides to your template, but just make sure you're looking for week 7. Once you've read the chapters and you've completed it, make sure you either type or submit something into your template. Go to Slack, go back to project ideas. That's where we're having these conversations about our project ideas, and write a post about the questions from slide 6. If I know that some people are still working on slides 3, 4, and 5, so I need to know the difference. So you should be able to tell me what those questions are and your answers. Make sure you post it and respond to 2 classmates' posts before Sunday, October 8th. This will at least give me a chance to look at the first ones and these ones because it's all in one area. So that way I can see how your projects are developing. Again, I'm not expecting perfect projects, but I am expecting that you're able to give me something. At least show me that you're making progress to it. Our last assignment, and this is one that will take a little bit of time, is creating a Google Classroom. You guys may have used Google Classroom as a student, but now it's your job to make one as a teacher. Okay, so I will show you on Blackboard what someone looks like, but you're setting up your Google Classroom account. In your class, you'll be setting up these things. It's basically a classroom for a unit. There should be an introduction or hook activity. There should be a lesson video. Wait, we created one. You can use what you've already created. That's why we're putting it all together in one unit. So don't feel like you got to create a new lesson video. Use the same one. Create the unit based upon what we started with at the very beginning of the term with screencasting. Then you should have an activity for students to work on, whether that be a worksheet and some sort of activity, something that you can measure what they're learning. You should also have an assessment. We did that as well. So again, you're not creating a lot of new things, but you will need to reuse some of the stuff if you want to that you've already created. And then there should be some sort of extension or final activity that kind of ties it all together for students. Okay, so again, you will need to create a Google Classroom. So there are some processes that go into that. I'll discuss this when we talk about it on Blackboard, which is where I'm going. So here we've got Blackboard. week 7, designer and facilitator. We're designing stuff this week. The first part is remote learning spaces. So there are 3 links here. How to organize assignments in Google Classroom, something from Caitlin Tuckler about online learning, and an article from Edutopia, Make Distance Learning Better. Once you've read those and you've kind of got an idea of what they're talking about, give me 5 tips, teacher tips, that you think would be important if you had to do remote or online distance learning. Okay, so please make sure. Post on Slack that. You don't have to post anything here. That's just there so I can give points. But post on Slack, and so that way I can see what kind of tips you guys come out with. Our second thing is the book club meeting. Again, like I said, read chapters 7 and 8 in your textbook. Complete slide 6 in your template. Now, if you don't know what slide 6 looks like, that is this. Oh, wrong one. There we go. There we go. It should say week 7, 10.2 to 10.8. So read chapter 7 and 8. Think about your project that you've been putting together. What fundamentals do you have to teach first, if any? Think about student roles for the project. How will those roles differentiate tasks for the students? How will you assess student achievement based upon the learning goals you're setting? What will your project rubric look like? Doesn't mean you have to make a full rubric, but what would it look like? What are you trying to measure and how will they get points if you're giving points? What technology are you going to use? It should be technology based. How is this technology relevant to real life tools students will encounter, whether it's in school, outside of school, in their everyday lives? And what aspects of your project promote inquiry and deep learning? And what's going to make them really passionate about it? And what's going to make them want to go deeper into it and really get the most out of it? Now, again, I'm not expecting everything to be perfect, but you should be able to answer those 6 questions here on the template, which remember, you don't turn this into the following week, but then take those answers and put them on Slack. So that way you're able to show me that you're doing that right now, and you can get some ideas from classmates. Because the idea is that you guys are going to collaborate and realize, oh, some stuff works, some stuff doesn't, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But you want to make sure that you are collaborating on Slack and getting some ideas from your other classmates. Now, coming back to this, our last assignment is a big one. It's where you have to create a Google Classroom. I have given you a video right here to watch to help you go through Google Classroom. Every so often, Google Classroom kind of updates. So some of the features that I might be showing you here may not be there anymore. Or they might have added some stuff. Again, if you need assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I don't use Google Classroom as much anymore, but I still know how to use it. But it's still something important to learn about. But here's the assignment. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to classroom.google.com. If you've been there before, you're fine. But you want to go kind of the upper right-hand corner and click on, it's usually a plus button or something like add, either join class or create class. Your goal is to create a class. Okay, so you should be able to do it. If you do run into issues, let me know. Sometimes that happens. And there's some workarounds, but not always. But we can always adapt things as we need it. But again, this goes back to the unit. So remember, you've already created a video and an assessment. Stay with that. Don't make your life harder than it needs to be. But you want to give me an introduction or hook activity. You want to give me the lesson video. It's embedded in Google Classroom, so you'll have to make sure you watch the video. Look for any tutorials. There should be an activity. That could be a worksheet. That could be some sort of assignment you give students if you were given this in class. You already have the assessment, so make sure you use that. And the last thing is whatever extension activity you could get. So it could be an exit ticket. It could be another activity. It could be something extending the learning, going to that next level. You got to have something for that. Those are 5 things that I want to see on your Google Classroom. But here's the kicker. You're not going to be able to show me your Google Classroom. You can't share Google Classroom. I can't have access to your classes. There's nothing I can do about it. So what you need to do is create a screencast that highlights these 5 things that you're doing that are showing up in your Google Classroom. And once you finish that screencast, make sure you upload it to YouTube, get the link, and submit it on Blackboard. I can't view the Google Classroom myself. There's no way that we can share it. I wish there was. But you can make a screencast. That's why we practice this. So that way, just like I'm doing right here with you guys show me what you got on there. As long as I see that it's already embedded in your Google Classroom through your screencast, you're going to be perfectly fine. Make sure that you get this done, okay? Don't wait till the last second. We are coming up at the end of the session on October 15th after midnight, going into Monday morning, October 16th, Blackboard will close. So if you are still behind on anything, please get that stuff taken care of as soon as possible, because after that point, there is nothing I can do. So you need to make sure you're getting everything turned in. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Some of you guys have, and I'm glad I'm able to answer questions. Some of you guys have been communicating with each other, which is great. Keep up the good work. We're almost at the finish line. Make sure you get everything done.